always was a mixed multitude, all the time. That's why I can't say no race about, racism. um, this got spread out to everyone, especially even in the Gentiles. They were talking these languages. So it's a sign in itself, you know what I mean? And in top of the his crucifixion, how they crucified him, his death penalty. They had three languages: the Hebrews, which was his, the Greek, and the Latins, Latinos, the Sephardic, this mixed in people already. They're all mixed in. They're the lost tribes. Even Samaria, all that is Israel, all that. They were dispersed so long ago. And there was never mentioned this thing about race inside the Bible. Like nowhere. You just knew who you were by the believers of your beliefs. And as the empires came, meaning they were always next to each other, because the world was lost before that already. He got Abraham to call everybody out. After Adam, after Moses, he called Abraham. He's the next one he talked to. But it's the other way around. Abraham came first, though. But still, to tell that to Moses about Abraham, like it was just a belief. Like Abraham is the grandfather of the great great grandfather of. Wait, the grandson of Noah. He's almost like a grandson of Noah, or he came from. You got to look into the fathers, right? They're fathers, but Abraham or Abraham's dad came from Noah, right? It's that lineage, and that's where he's starting the. He spoke. Yeah, he last spoke to Noah, and he's about the rainbow, and that I'm never gonna flood it again, and all that. But either way, uh, I don't know why, but that's who he chose to make this great. But again, there never was a race to it. He just moved. They moved from one to another. They never mentioned race. You just gotta abide by that, and it's kind of embarrassing to say that, because we see the idolatry. You know what I mean? We see all the idolatry, and it doesn't even make sense in the Catholic Church, or just for a people, because even from the Aztecs, it was like it goes far back like that. But still, that's not as far back as what we're talking about right now. Just like humanity itself, of how we were, who we always ponder that. We also know that the world might have been one land piece instead of two. And then there's this book, Yasher, that there was a big earthquake. So that must have been really closer to there, and it just earthquaked it away and more. Because people really forget things. It was a long time ago, and people really do forget things. They don't write them down, and there's just a little snippet of that kind of evidence just coming out in the Apocrypha, which is the books they took out. There's a lot of books they took out. Now, being Hebrew, that means those books are ours. That's what you got to feel like you belong to it. I'm only a guide again. I'm only guiding. I only tell you where to go. Like, yeah, I only point the sign. It's like, especially when there's this evidence. But the scriptures just goes way more back. And that is very spiritual. And that's why I say the things that I say, or posts that I post that are a little bit off. It was like, no, it's because the Bible brought me back to those stuff that's going on recently right now, that nobody wants to talk about those things. Like, I don't want it for nobody. I can't, I'm an artist, so to speak, with creative freedom, but I'm like that. I'm now a vessel. I'm not even an artist or anything. I'm a vessel for him. But I'm going to tie that more up with the scriptures. Yes. Look at more of that really quick.
Carry Sephardic Jewish ancestry, confirming their descent from conversos who fled the Inquisition to the remotest corners of the Spanish Empire. The genetic
Their
evidence is
architecture
clear.
looks the same too.
Sephardic Jews trace
The
their ancestry to
castles
the
and all
ancient
that.
land of Israel, just as their traditions always claimed. This evidence ties memory to biology and history.
And just
to
the
genetic
worship. You know how we
continuity.
worship as
The
well. We
Ladino
worship
language
deeply, like
is
we
a
really do.
living memorial. One of the most poignant legacies of Sephardic civilization is Ladino, also called Judeo-Spanish, Judesmo, or Spaniolit. It developed from the
Levant.
medieval Spanish spoken by Jews before the expulsion. After 1492, as Sephardic Jews scattered across the Ottoman Empire and beyond, they carried this language with them. Isolated from Spain and the evolution of Castilian Spanish into its modern form, Ladino preserved features of medieval Spanish that disappeared from the language as spoken in Spain. Linguists have noted that Ladino contains words, pronunciations, and grammatical structures